Good morning and welcome to the fourth hour. Really great to have you along. I appreciate it very much. Donald Trump is just on fire. Yeah, Trump, as part of the Super Bowl halftime show yesterday. Now, this morning, this is coming from Fox News. Trump administration filing a motion to vacate the restraining order prohibiting Doge from access to the Treasury payment systems. So that happened over the weekend, that a judge had said, nope, Doge cannot access the Treasury payment systems. Nope, we can't have Doge looking into that. So now Donald Trump's administration already filing a restraining order. Let's see what else is new. Hold on a second. In the motion, the CEO of Cloud Software Group said it's important that high-level political appointees such as the Treasury Secretary, so on, attend briefings concerning information obtained from the data or sister. Oh, God. Speaking like only a CEO or a lawyer can. Wow. Can you decipher this? Can we run this past the decryption team to find out what he's saying? This is pretty common. I'll tell you, this is fairly common of people who spend time in and especially around government, that they wind up speaking this way. And in other words, because you don't know, it's like, what did he say? Man, can I disagree with that? I don't even know what he said. No, it's just absolutely crazy. So he was working at Treasury as a special government employee, admitted that these high-level officials do not ordinarily need to receive access to or review such data, but it could occur. Oh, this is just, wow. I could never be a lawyer. I mean, seriously. I would never want to be a lawyer. And trying to dig your way through that sea of just absolute crud. I mean, no, thank you. So that's new at Fox News this morning. I'll be waiting for those to decipher that and put that into some kind of human terms that I can actually understand. Let's go to the interview that Brett Baer did with Donald Trump. I want to share a portion of this. Now, this is like 6.5 minutes long, so almost 7 minutes long, and I don't want to share all of it. But this is the interview that Donald Trump did with Brett Baer. I have not seen this yet. I've not seen all of this yet. I was just seeing news reports this morning. So Donald Trump at this part was talking about the judge's ruling regarding the Department of Government Efficiency that we just mentioned a few moments ago. So the fight over that is far from over. But this is what Donald Trump said during the Super Bowl interview.
The opposite. So some of your plays have raised some questions and had some pushbacks. 19 states attorneys general filed a lawsuit, and early Saturday, a judge agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down on what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all the
good
things
luck
that are
with
going
that.
on in the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there.
And you found significant things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say, this is ridiculous. And you've read the same lists. And there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it.
Yep.
And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
You announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You immediately got action from both of them on border security and drug interdiction.
I talked a little bit about this as well.
Is that good enough?
No, it's not good enough.
So more needed in 30 days.
Something has to happen. It's not sustainable. And I'm changing it.
You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen,
This is pretty fascinating.
Said, that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion.
I'm going to pause this for just a moment because now Canada, they're taking this very, very seriously. They're like, this is, you know, they're taking it seriously. Donald Trump is not just fooling around. They are, you know, they believe that he's very serious, and he certainly sounds like it. Let's continue.
$200 a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying?
Look at that smile on Brett Baer's face.
Essentially in subsidy to Canada. Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
You said the tariff is a beautiful word. There are some signs in the markets, consumer confidence, that they're a little jittery. So if all goes to plan, when do you think families will be able to feel
great question
going down? Groceries, energy, or are you kind of
great
saying
question
to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich. Look, we're not that rich right now. We owe $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us. Same thing, like 200 billion with Canada. We owe 300. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
Sports has always been something that Americans rally around to come together.
Okay, let's leave it there. Because that really is the heart of it. And then again, you know, he talked to Trump about being at the Super Bowl and, you know, why he was there in sports and so on. We talked about that a little bit this morning during the show. But that was a pretty interesting interview. And I find Brett Baer to be somebody who's very, very insightful. So if you want to know what Donald Trump is saying, you go right to the source. Let's go to Donald Trump's Truth Social account. Trump signs the proclamation as Air Force One flies over the Gulf of America for the first time. There's this is some housekeeping stuff. He's announcing an ambassador to Finland. This is interesting. Our service academies have been infiltrated by woke leftist ideologues over the last 4 years. I have ordered the immediate dismissal of the Board of Visitors for the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard. We will have the strongest military in history, and that begins by appointing new individuals to these boards. We must make the military academies great again. Dismiss them all. And then he's some comments on the Super Bowl. And this is Donald Trump being Trump, right? Trump is musing. The worst part of the Super Bowl by far was watching the kickoff, whereas the ball is sailing through the air. The entire field is frozen, stiff. College football does not do it and won't. Whose idea was it to ruin the game? He doesn't like that they're standing still. This we talked about. This is a comment by Trump. And this was the top story this morning at foxnews.com. The only one that had a tougher night than the Kansas City Chiefs was Taylor Swift. She got booed out of the stadium. MAGA is very unforgiving. Now, of all of the things that we talked about on the show this morning, was that the biggest story in America this morning? It was today at Fox News. That was the top lead. Boom. Go to foxnews.com. That was the top story at Fox News. And I just thought, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be joking. Things are falling apart at foxnews.com. I see that kind of thing more and more. And you really have to dig for some of the, again, the Super Bowl interview with their own Brett Baer. That should have been, bam, man, top of the site. I don't know what passes for intelligence at foxnews.com, but here's another one. And this is interesting. I had thought about talking about this morning. And this is what I wanted to get to. For far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I've instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. Pennies, no longer making pennies. I welcome your thoughts on that, because that to me is interesting. 2 cents to mint a 1 cent penny. In what reality does that make sense? Because it doesn't outside of the bizarro world, that doesn't make any sense. All right, let's see. There was one other story that I wanted to share with you from Straight Arrow News this morning. Before we take a look at the Department of Government Efficiency and their website, Donald Trump will be announcing new 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. So this is similar to the move he made during his first term, his first administration. Now it's 25% tariffs on steel, 10% on aluminum. He lifted them for Mexico and Canada a year later. So he said, I'll be announcing probably Tuesday or Wednesday at a news conference, reciprocal tariffs. And very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them, he says. So be watching. That should be on your radar then this week, that Donald Trump will be doing that likely Tuesday or Wednesday is what they're reporting. So let's take a look at the Department of Government Efficiency and this is their page on X. And a lot of this I talked about. Now, again, keep in mind, weekend, it's kind of slow. You don't have a lot of, especially within the government, that are working on the weekend. So the Department of Government Efficiency, take a look at this. Adjustment to the DHS website. The LGBTQI plus community resources page, no longer found. That page is now gone. Wow. Pretty crazy. Also the Department of Government Efficiency, the Gulf of America. And you're seeing it here, U.S. Department of State. Gulf of America and Pacific Ocean. So you're seeing these changes now starting to take place on federal government web pages. DOJ is saying great coordination across 35 agencies in the last 2 days to terminate 199 wasteful contracts, saving $250 million. And then they go on to list the contracts. This was a few days ago. This would have been Friday. The Department of Education terminated 3 DEI training grants totaling $15 million. And $15 million here, $30 million there. Pretty soon you're talking real money. And that's what you see. Say $4 billion annually in excessive grant administration costs. They're talking about the National Institutes of Health. And this is all overhead, administrative overhead, not actual costs. So when it comes to actual studies, so on, you're talking about administrative overhead. That's what was cut from the National Institutes of Health. And of course, Democrats are out there, crying and whining. And these are what these cuts are doing and how Americans are going to suffer. Are you suffering yet? Are you suffering yet? I don't think many of us are. And this just goes on. Here you go. Past 48 hours. HHS canceled 62 contracts worth $182 million. These contracts were entirely for administrative expenses. None touched any healthcare programs. This included terminating a $168,000 contract for an Anthony Fauci exhibit at the NIH Museum. So the stuff they're cutting is waste. There's no other word for it. This is, it's absolute waste. So it's crazy as you take a look at this and what's being cut. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm going to ask you, please hit that like button before you leave. That's a big favor to me. And you made it through the entire video. My thanks to you. You've watched the entire thing. Thank you for being here through the end. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. You take care until then, my friend. See you soon.